Welcome back, everybody. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get this started. We're going to start installing Altiris 7.6. I did tell you I will show errors and issues and things I run into. The one I just ran into, I just did the video and got pretty far, just up to the point of connecting to the database and whatnot. It was a little too much for me to try and have you go through, unless you want a couple hours worth. So I installed SQL Server 2016 Express. Just check it out, and I just couldn't, it just wouldn't work. So I went back to install SQL Server 2014 64-bit, got everything working. So I'm going to start over from here. From here I'll hopefully get going with where we should have been. So once again, so if you go to Symantec.com and you search for management platform, you'll find the download for Symantec Installation Manager. It's called SIM. Now, because I'm going to cheat, because Altiris, when it goes to install, it actually caches everything locally. As you see, it's a 7.74 gig installation. So I just grabbed this off of one of my old test servers, stuck it over here so I don't have to recache everything. So within this, once you have your Symantec installation, I'll bring that over. Once you have your file, you're going to go ahead and run it. And I am going to pause from time to time to keep the video a little small. I think I was up to like 2 hours on my previous one, and that was with pausing, so hopefully this is not as long. Alright, so as you'll notice, I have a separate SQL server, so this is fine. So just notifying me. So another thing, you'll want to have 2 hard drives. You don't have to, but typically in an environment, usually your C drive is usually 2, say 73 gig drives mirrored as your OS, and then you'll have a RAID 5 subset or however else you choose to do your rating. So with that, I will change this to E. That's all I'm going to change. And let's make sure I formatted the drive. Okay, I have an E drive. Now, that is also where patch management is going to download all of its patches, and they can get large. So I definitely recommend you use a storage location on the server that has a good amount of space. So now Symantec Installation Manager just installed. And when it launches, so previous versions allowed you, if there was a newer version of SIM, to hit remind me in a day, a week, a month. And it never worked. As soon as you launched it, it would tell you again. This is one of the things I ran into last night. You have to choose update now. If you hit exit, it will exit. So now this can be challenging in some environments because I utilize a dev environment to mess around with and crash and burn. I use a test environment, which then I utilize to verify my document that I put together while setting up the dev environment is accurate. Because once I get to my production environment with change control, everything, it has to be perfect. Screenshots and everything, no deviations. So typically, in ours, we even go down to version of SIM, so I would actually fail right here because I have to update. So we're going to go ahead and click it. We will hit upgrade. This does not check back for verification. So we will just fill it out. And this will pop up throughout other places and other upgrades, and so that will come back. As you see, it just cached the download. All right, just gonna go ahead and restart. It's going to remind us about the SQL again, not a big deal. Sorry, my throat's real raspy and real dry. Sorry for clearing it a lot. All right, now this the one downside to installing the new version. We'll show you all the new versions. Now, I don't want to do 8.0 yet because I want to go from 7.6 as an upgrade to 8. Now, as you notice, there are different versions here. Your main are these four. Asset Management Suite has Client Management Suite and Asset Management Suite within one. IT Management Suite encompasses them all. And you have Server Management Suite. I'm going to do Client Management Suite. However, we're going to jump back to another version. Now, one of the other things going to 7.6, there is 7.6, I believe SP1, hotfix 7 is the one that I want to get us to. You have to install 7.6, then it's either SP1 and hotfix 7, but this is where we start. 7.6, another issue I ran into is I was going to install the migration wizard. I always install everything. Why not? So you don't have to install it later. But that also ran into an issue where it told me I was not upgrading to 8.0, so that was an issue. Alright, it defaulted us over here to E. Here's everything that's going to get installed. So it's a lot. Here's where it remembers all of our user info. Now, it's requesting download, but at a later point, it will get to a spot where it says, down across the bottom, you'll see it caching. Now, once you install Symantec Installation Manager and you do an upgrade, you can go to, within here, Symantec Installation Manager, installs Altiris, and this is where everything is going to cache. Now, because I already have the cache directory, as you see, I'm going to go to install, paste. So I'm going to let this copy in. Let's get back to this. So, install readiness. This is where in my dev environment I would take these notes, what I had to do, what I had to install, and go from there. So, you can click these links and a lot of this will be done for you and it will take you to the downloads. Because I already did this, I already have some of it downloaded. That's interesting, the other ones aren't here. So, Silverlight, Java, as you see, are on here. Now, the ones in red are recommended. So, let's go ahead and get these going. Silverlight is heavily utilized in the console. Be careful of these. Make Bing my search page, MSN my home page. I can't stand when installers do that. They say make Chrome my default browser. I mean, I like Chrome, but don't mess with my settings. Okay, come on. Alright, I'm not going to enable updates. So if we come back here, Silverlight was required. As you'll see down further, Java is not required. It is recommended. I do have it. I will go ahead and install it. As you see, I downloaded 64 originally. That's when I first did the server. Because when you click that link, it takes you to all their stuff. I usually don't have UAC enabled due to my testing last night and having a lot of issues. I actually installed a lot of SQL versions and toyed with a lot of settings where I just decided to rebuild the machine. So, let's see. Alright, we said install for Java. Gonna assume it went. Alright, so that's all from here. Alright, there we go. Alright, I'm sorry, I want them going. Let's let that go. Alright, I'm going to pause out until this is done so I can free up some resources. I'll be right back. Okay, so Java, I clicked install. Of course, here we go. Amazon Assistant, whatnot. Let's uncheck that. We'll let this go. While this is going, we will scroll up, click on the first one. Click the link. Okay, well, welcome back. So what I did was I decided to go ahead and install them myself. So I don't know if you saw my hardware, my actual lab video on how my lab is set up. I have a free NAS server because all this is in a private network. So what I did was on my free NAS, I created a document which I put links to two of them that from server-side OS I'm not able to get to. From there, I jumped over to my Windows 7 VM and I opened up from FreeNAS that links.txt. I downloaded them. I stuck the files in FreeNAS and then I copied them over locally. And it turned out it was just the 264s. And two of them, other than those two, they downloaded okay. So I installed them, click the install readiness check again. Here we are, we meet minimum specs. I'll probably bump another processor up or another core up once I'm done with the installation. I just don't want to cancel now and have to go through where we're at. So we'll go next because it is able to be done. So let's try this out. Let's do, so I have my user account. Actually, we're going to use the other account. Default website is fine. Alright. So I don't know where that came from. That might have been during all my messing around. Or actually, that's the server name. We're not going to do email right now. We can do that later from within inside the console. And if you look, it's downloading files. See, I'm ready to install now. So because I copied it at cache. Now that 7 gig is, as I told you, 7.6 is going to install. Then 7.6 has to be updated to 7.6 hotfix 7. So, and then it's going to redo that again. So let's go on. Now here's where I had a problem before. So SQL Server, let's try this. And let's see if it'll go. And this took a couple minutes, so I'll probably pause here until it pops up the next screen. Alright, so hold on. Alright, it's verifying database connection. And it took a couple minutes just to get this far. Okay, we're back. So I did have this in my actual production environment when I went to 7.6. We actually had to create the database from the SQL Server. So I will show you. So from my SQL Server, went in, right click, new database. It comes up, gave it Symantec CMDB. The only thing I can tell you you have to look for when you set up a new database for this, you want to choose simple. I'm trying to remember from where. Let's see. options. Yeah, right here. So recovery model. It's full by default. Change it to simple. Other than that, you change that, you hit OK. Then when you're done, you go into the account you would like to use. And I just do server role, server admin, user mappings, choose that new database, and hit OK. And when we're done, we would then come down here, choose use existing. All right, so let's go. Now it's actually going to hit up against the database. It's going to say the database is already there's already a database. It's empty, something like that. You'll see the actual message. We're going to go ahead and use that. Well, that's a good little start. It took another couple minutes to burp up this error. So let's leave that here. Let's go grab our SQL Server. And like I said, I usually write all this down in a document, which I probably should have pulled up my other document, but I wanted to let you see all the issues that you could have. So, not associated with a user or role having privileges to alter. So let's take a look. Still not great with SQL, obviously. So, I have no clue. So, securables. Alright, I got it. So, looking into it. So, even though I added the Altiris account as a login, I thought I gave it some rights. If you go under server roles, there's a sysadmin. Yeah, I could probably go with something a little bit not as intense, but sysadmin, this was not in here. I just went ahead and I just added it. As soon as I added it, everything went good. Hit next. Now you have selected an empty database for installation. Recommends you use it. Yes. I never ever messed with this. I'll just skip that. And here we go. So we'll go ahead and we'll begin installation. And I am okay, so it's installing because remember, it already cached. So for you, depending on your internet connection, it's got a gig to download, 20 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, and then it's going to install. So I'm going to let this install. It's going to, this itself is going to take some time. So it's going to install, then it's going to configure and set up. And so, note, it's 2:34. We'll see when it gets done. All right, I'll pause it. So as you see, we've hit installations complete, and we're 24% of the way there. So as I said, it's going to take a while. So be back in a minute. Well, welcome back. So the installation is completed, and looks like half hour maybe. Since I just rebuilt my machine, my VM, it seems like it's running a lot better. Not sure what was going on. Notification cryptographic key is required for disaster recovery. It's a test lab. I don't care about disaster recovery, and I've never used a cryptic key anyway. So for now, we're going to finish through because our ultimate goal here is to upgrade beyond this. So we have some trial licenses here, so we're going to go ahead and go. We're not going to launch the console at this time. We're going to let this go. Now, as you notice, they will say upgrade product installed. It wants us to go to 8, and that's all that's here. So let's hit cancel. Yes. Hotfixes. Okay, so we're back. It came up. So if you noticed, Altiris Deployment Solution 7.6 Hotfix 7. I was wrong. There is no Service Pack 1. I wasn't sure. I've gone between so many versions since where I'm at now. But you do see there are some hotfix 2, 4, different things in here. So we're going to go ahead and grab them all. Make sure it's still within 7.6. We do not want to go to 8 yet. And this will all look familiar. I believe hotfix 7 is the last version that they're going to go to, well, because 8's out. So, which is interesting because we haven't gone to 8.0 where I work, and we're on 7.6 hotfix 7, and we've had some issues, and we've been told they're not going to produce a new hotfix, but we're not ready to go to 8. So it's a little interesting because we still have support, but and it's still a supported version. So, a little interesting. All right, so kept our user info. And you'll notice it will go back to caching down the files at some point. As we're doing this, it'll get to a point. Yep, install readiness. All right, so we have everything needed. All right, so we'll go ahead. Next. All right, so here's what we're going to go ahead and install. Validating files. Downloading. Oh, so I have some I was missing. Okay. So let's say begin. All right. And here we go. It's going to go basically through the whole setup. So we go ahead and we'll come back when this is at the next screen. All right. Okay, welcome back. Here we go. Hotfix installed. We'll finish. It says we're good, and we're going to see this one upgrade product. We don't want that. So we're looking good here. We still have to do licenses and all that stuff. I'm going to save that for another day. Another like another tutorial on just the next step. So initially we have it installed. So let's take a look. Give a real quick rundown before I end this. The Altiris agent's working. And as we see here, Altiris, here we go. This is the server we're connected to. We are connected, and this is green. If it was red, we're obviously not connected. So we're looking good there. All right. So make sure the console comes up. And of course, I named the server Altiris, which is, well, we could do. All right. May need a reboot. And here we go. So I'm going to end it there as not running. All right. Couldn't do that to you because it would bother me until I figured it out. Definitely got to turn on another processor or thread. So if you bring up a browser and go to your server name / Altiris, that's it. It'll launch. They do give you a link. I don't know why it didn't work. Localhost didn't work. Like I said, we didn't reboot yet, so that could be part of it. But we are up and running. If we go manage computers, this will, yeah, if you've never seen this, you use this, it will look a little confusing. The more you use it, the better it gets and easier it is. But the point is, I'll show you real quick that we know we're good to go. Now, one thing is, this does take a minute to build. When it does, you click on each of these. The next time you come back, they're cached. It does check for changes, but big thing is right here. So, agent health, we are good. So, I am now going to leave on that because we're up and running. All right, so until the next tutorial where we move on, we'll start enabling agents and getting all of our clients to check in, start inventorying, delivering software, patches, and whatnot. So, all right, until then, bye.